Hey, this is Troy from CubeDwellerFitness, and I've got Srdjan from Bloom to Fit with me here today. And we're going to talk a little bit about his site, and then we're going to talk about his experience going through the Visual Impact program. It's got 3 phases, and today we're going to talk about phase 1. And so, Srdjan, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bloom to Fit?
Thanks a lot, Troy. Appreciate the intro. Bloom to Fit, man, it's been a while. I created the site. It's been about 1.5 years, and it's been a crazy experience, ups and downs. But really, what it is, it's a community of fitness bloomers where we're focused on one thing, and that's building a better body so we can have and live better lives. Nice. I see a lot of people focused on looks. Aesthetics are huge right now, but people really don't realize that we live in a world where we've created this kind of environment, the infrastructure and the technology, and this environment is kind of backfiring on us because it's not catered to what our bodies were designed or how they were designed to function. Yep. We weren't designed to be sitting in a chair 40 hours a week.
Really?
We weren't designed to be fueling our bodies with processed foods and fast foods. And what I'm trying to create is kind of bring it back to that solid foundation, help people reverse these negative effects. And I like to focus on a lot of self-therapeutical means such as myofascial release, and that's going to be a big thing on my site. Nice. I like to focus on the nutrition aspect of it because, as both you and I know, and anybody who's ever tried to make any changes to their body, nutrition is a huge thing. So I'm trying to build this, essentially this big resource for people so they can come and learn how to build a better body. So nice. And it's growing, so I'm having a blast with it. So yeah,
that's what it's all about. I think that's one of the things that drew me to our site, to your site, and found a lot of things that in common. The tagline that I put under CubeDwellerFitness when I started is "There's life outside the box." I might be stuck in a cube while I'm working. I might be stuck while I'm at home, but there's so much to explore, and there's so much to be able to go and do. And if we change what we're eating, we change how we're getting some fitness, whether it's just taking breaks at work or working out before or after, that's the way that I'm going to be able to enjoy what life throws my direction. And I see a lot of that in your focus on Bloom to Fit. So fun to have a...
True. Both you and I know what it's like to be in a cube. I mean, we're both engineers, and we don't like being in there for too long, right? So we got to find those ways. We got to find those ways to get out for a bit.
That's right. Although I am working on our health and wellness people at work, I might be able to get some pull-up bars installed at work. Not going to be in my cube, but it's going to be right nearby. So
yeah, I want to see pictures of that.
I keep fighting the good fight. So anyway, I think that's a great background, a great summary on Bloom to Fit. I'm going to really be looking forward to your more information on the myofascial release. I know I got a foam roller and started rolling the outsides of my hips, in particular that IT band. It just binds up from sitting too long. And I was a little skeptical before I bought it, but I have to say it makes a huge difference. So it'll be fun to see what you come up with that.
Yeah, I'm really trying to just kill that skepticism. I mean, that stuff works, and it works great. So just stay tuned. You'll see.
Well, I think that's it. You gotta try it, and that's, I think, the best way to kill the skepticism is just get into it. So
exactly.
So I know I've been watching your site. I know you've been going through Visual Impact. I know you've gone through. You spent a bunch of time in phase 1, and now you've gone through phase 2. But why don't we spend some time today telling us about what is phase 1 and how did it go and what kind of results did you see? What was different about it and what was the impact?
Okay, well, Troy, I'll be honest, I've always been a lean guy. I've always been active. I've participated in a ton of sports, Muay Thai training, boxing, basketball. I've always been lean, and to be honest, I love being lean. It's way easier to maintain. But I've been getting a lot of questions from people how to put on muscle mass, how to get bigger. And I figured the easiest way to show them that was to go through the process myself and just show results. So what I did, I used a program by a guy named Rusty Moore that both you and I know.
Yep.
And this program it's a 3-phase program, each phase catering to a certain type of change. So phase 1 was all about muscle building, putting on size. Phase 2 and phase 3 are different. Phase 2 is more of a 5x5 program. It's like a transition phase. Phase 3 is all about developing strength, fat loss, all those kinds of things. But for phase 1, I'll be honest, it was a great experience for me. I was able to put on about 19 pounds of muscle in 8 weeks.
Nice.
So,
that's cool.
I was able to show people exactly how to do it, and that's after they see that I went through it. They know exactly what to do, and on my blog, I created really like a series. I showed them how you're supposed to train, how you're supposed to eat, the supplements that you need to take, if any. And I summarized it all because I really think people have the whole muscle building strategy completely backwards. And Rusty did a great thing in this program, really opened some eyes so people really understand why it is they're not getting any results.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of false information out there. I know I shared this with an email with you before this morning that I overheard a conversation this weekend that I'll have to share on this blog post that goes out with this interview that just shows you what type of false information is out there and how far out in left field people can be thinking what they need to do to put on muscle mass. It's really eluded a lot of people. So 19 pounds in 8 weeks, that's great.
Yeah, it was... by the way, that story was really funny, so you guys should definitely check that out. But I'll be honest, putting on muscle is... the strategy is not very complicated. There's a few things you have to keep in mind, and then you follow them as closely as you can, for as long as you can, or for as long as you need, really, depending on what your goals are.
Yep.
So, for instance, a lot of people think that to get bigger, to put on size, you gotta be lifting real heavy weights, you gotta be eating a lot, but they don't really understand what eating a lot means. And if you understand the training component of it, and if you dedicate yourself to the diet or to the eating strategy, I guess is what I called it. Yeah. Results will come. And you guys can check out the training strategy and my diet on my blog, but I'll give you a quick summary. For the training, for instance, what we were trying to focus on is what we call sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, where we're just trying to funnel muscle cell fluid or sarcoplasm into the muscle cells. And we do this by focusing on 3 things. One, we focus on lower weights and really high volume. So instead of doing those heavy weights, we're doing lighter weights in greater volume, really, so greater reps. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But the one thing that I found changed, or that made drastic improvements for me, was lowering that rest period. And a lot of people don't really place a lot of focus on this. They just, have their rest, and then when they're ready, they'll hit the next set. But what I was able to do, or what I discovered, was that by lowering my rest period to about 45 seconds, sometimes 50 seconds, what it did, it created this cumulative fatigue effect where one set kind of built onto the next. Yep. And this changed things drastically for me. And what I realized was, when I wasn't timing my rest periods before, those things just fly by. Before you know it, you're resting like 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and you allow your muscles to recharge, and you lose that cumulative fatigue effect. So it's these little things that if you just understand and follow, there's no way you could go wrong.
Yeah, I've
So
found the same thing. I never used to time my rest periods, but I started using my heart rate monitor, not so much for the heart rate, but to have a watch that I can time it right as I go. And
see,
I first noticed it when I started doing, Tabata protocol workouts. And, that 10-second rest, it seems like it's two. They go by so
yeah,
quick. And so
exactly.
because of that, I started watching my rest periods were doing other workouts, and I'm completely with you. If it's too easy to say, well, that's probably less than a minute, I'm good, and it's probably three.
Yeah,
So
and it makes a
it's
difference. It makes a really big difference.
cool.
Um,
Oh, that's a great tip.
and yeah, that's something I learned myself when I was going through it because I was just one of those going through the rest periods, but I changed those, and I'll tell you the other big thing that I discovered was eating. Man, I was eating 3,000 and 3,500 calories a day, and I can't tell you how hard it is to consume that on a daily basis.
Yeah,
You,
that's a lot of food.
I've tried building muscle before, and and I was never really. I knew I had to eat a lot, but I wasn't as dedicated and focused as I was when I did it right now in the past few months. And when you figure out that a way to force it down, really, because that's what you have to do. You have to force down those calories, those excess calories, I guess. And once you figure out how to fight against that, your stomach telling you, man, stop it.
Yeah,
It becomes easy.
yeah,
I just started watching the scale week after week, and it was just pound after pound of muscle just on there. So, and you
nice,
guys can check out pictures. I have all the details there if you guys want to see it. But it's really eye opening when you
nice.
start focusing on those simple concepts and putting in the work.
I think that's so true, and we'll talk more in the next interview when you talk about phase 3, where you're really doing more cutting. But I think it's too easy for us to spend time talking about the workout and the right workout to burn fat or to gain muscle, and more often than not, it's the diet that is either making it work or sabotaging your efforts. And it's again kind of like those rest intervals. It's easy to guess, but unless you're tracking it accurately, and Tony DiLorenzo in the last interview that I talked about, he put on 16 pounds in a short amount of time. And he said
Right.
the same thing. He had his spiral notebook, and he was tracking everything. If it went in his mouth, it went in the notebook. And that was one of his keys to really being able to see some progress, is know exactly what's going in, so that he knew if he needed to keep putting more on when he's trying to gain or when he's trying to get lean, the flip side. But he had to know what those calories were.
I completely agree. I knew everything. I tracked everything. More so, apart from what he did, I planned ahead of time, and then I stuck to that plan rather than the other way, I guess. But as long as you know what you're eating and that it's matching what you need to be eating,
Yep,
you should be fine.
that's cool. Anything else you want to add to this one? We've talked about Bloom to Fit. We'll put some links down below to your site, and we'll put some links to your sequence as you walk through that phase with visual impact. Anything else you'd like to leave people with today?
If you guys are interested in any of the muscle building, cutting information, like I said, it's all on my blog. You guys can find it easily. One thing I definitely recommend you check out is that story that Troy is about to or will tell in his blog post, because I was laughing for about 10 minutes when I saw this, but it's crazy some of the information you'll hear out there.
It is. I'll just give you a teaser. We hear people talk about bulking and cutting. There was a group of people hanging out near us, and they're talking about how they can, build up some guns, and they're like completely serious that, well, you need to work hard so you can build up muscle memory, and then if you have muscle memory, you can quit working out, and you just need to eat whatever just so you get fat, and it's not really fat because you have muscle memory. And so your body just knows what it's supposed to do. And it was so hard. Srdjan, I don't know how. But I was sitting across from him, just trying not to laugh, trying not to say anything. It's funny and it's sad at the same time because they were dead serious. Yeah. So there are some good ways. It's not muscle memory.
Yeah, it's not muscle memory for sure. Yeah, I wish it was that easy.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, that's great. Thanks for taking the time, Srdjan. And do take a look at the rest of the blog post. Will be a link underneath the video. Like the video. Let us know how it's going. Give us some feedback. And so thanks again.